And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Red Devils. And we are going to be talking about a lot today. And because a lot of stories happening with United at the end of the transfer window, an absolute disaster transfer window, really, if we look at it. And going to be sort of dissecting it, why it's a bad transfer window, what could be the fallout, and where to now for Ruben Amorim and United squad, who have lost a lot of players in this window, not brought in a lot. And massive news coming out from the Glazers in terms of apparently putting out another club and the likes of it. So yeah, we're going to plenty to get through. Before we do, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know what you think of the window, which I think was absolutely dreadful. We actually put a poll in the chat, and you can be able to rank the window between a scale of 1 to 4. Rate the transfer window. Well, actually, what we can do, you can go 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and 6 to 8. I don't think we really need an 8 to 10 vote, to be fair, because I don't think anyone's going to sit there and say that we had a 9 or 10 out of 10 type of transfer window. But anyway, so that's the transfer window. We're going to be talking about the two players we brought in, as well as the players that have left. Lots of players having gone, with a couple of youngsters having gone on loan, as well as a couple of first-team players. We'll also be talking about who stayed, and very importantly, why I think one person who was set to go staying was a good thing, but another person we couldn't get rid of wasn't a great thing. And finally, we're going to talk about the potential. Will Ruben Amorim put up with what we've seen now from INEOS so far in his first transfer window, and the fact that he was basically given one player in this transfer window. So let's get into it, shall we? So the main thing, I think, and the frustrating thing is you look at the winter transfer window, and all the clubs were active. All of them. Bar like United and maybe Arsenal. All the big teams brought in big players. All the big teams made some big moves, except for United. And, we're sitting in 14, so it's clearly working. Why would we need to bring in players? And that's where I think it's an absolute disaster. You go and look, for example, what Aston Villa did. This is a team who are in the Champions League and, not doing particularly well in the Premier League, but really trying to make a move and try and really go after a bit of a run over here. Bringing in Marcus Rashford, bringing in Diassi, bringing in Tonio Malin, bringing in Andres Garcia, as well as then yesterday announcing Marco Asensio. Huge. And all because, basically with a couple of these loans, and all because they managed to get rid of Durant for like 77 million euros. It's ridiculous. Bournemouth bought players in. Brentford bought players in. Brighton bought a couple of players in. Chelsea, even they, didn't really bring in massive, but they bought Calderas back from loans and the likes of that. It's just, you look at where we are as a club. We look at where we are in the window, and it's a disaster. For example, Liverpool didn't buy anybody this transfer window, but didn't need to. Even City, brought in a couple of players right towards the end, like of Nicola Gonzalez, for example. Obviously, Abdulkadir Kusanov, who's not had a good start, but and we brought in Aiden Heaven, who is an 18-year-old centre back who's not ready for the first team. And we brought in Patrick Dorgu, who I think is going to be a nice player. And I'm not complaining about the players we brought in. Aiden Heaven, nice player to bring in, cool. Looks like a good transfer. Diego Leon, 17 years old, cool. Looks like a nice transfer. Patrick Dorgu, we wait and see. He'll go straight into the first team. He's probably the only first team signing we made. Is he ready to start playing week in, week out? Well, we'll have to find out. But we did not make any signings that are going to make a difference to the side. We didn't make any signings, for example, that's going to make a difference to the fact that we're now playing in a different formation. Nobody that's maybe suited the formation. And I don't see how anything's going to change, how anything we're going to be, what we're doing, and all the issues with United, how is it going to change? The only thing we managed to do is get rid of players who weren't playing anyway. We got rid of Marcus Rashford and 70% of his wages. Cool, 2 thumbs up. He wasn't playing. That doesn't make a difference to our squad. It just means we're saving a bit of money for the next 6 months. You got rid of Anthony to Real Betis. Cool. He would play once every 4 or 5 games. We got rid of his wages. Great. Cool. Whatever. Till and the whole idea about Till Malassa going. We wanted to get him out. we're now sitting in a situation where we've not added to our squad, we've not really changed the squad, and we're not going to see us contain, I don't think, in any particular trophies unless we really start to change things with the squad we have. And that's the main thing. We've got strikers who are not scoring goals. We haven't brought anybody in. That has to change. How does it change? We've not made any moves that are going to change our side dramatically. We've still got Casemiro on our books. I mean, that's a disaster. Casemiro bringing in, 300 pounds a week. We still have him in our books, and we're still sitting now with a player who doesn't work in the system, who's not playing a lot of football, on massive wages, sitting at our club just drawing salary at this stage. And I personally don't mind if we give, Toby Collier the minutes that we would have been given to Casemiro, because I think obviously he's a player for the future. But it's a disaster that we've got somebody on those kind of wages that we have to now pay for the next 6 months. And the fact of the matter is that I think we were very ready to get rid of him, but nobody wants to buy Casemiro. So once again, because we've gone with this massive wage structure, we've now in a situation where we can't sell players. The only, I think, the two good things in the transfer window, bringing in Patrick Dorgu was a good thing. I'm not complaining about it. I'm excited to see what he can do. He looks like a nice signing. He looks like a nice profile. Of the clips I've watched him, looks like it's a player that we can hopefully work with. But we have to wait and see exactly what he looks like when he actually starts to play. Then we look at the Garnacho situation. Now, personally, I think that was the right move. I think that Garnacho has responded well to the Ruben Amorim criticism and to being dropped. And I think we're starting to see him fit into a system. I don't think the system's working particularly well, but at least he's starting to find more, I think, fluidity within the system itself. He has, for me, looked like our best attacking player the last 3-4 games. And that's a good thing. And I'd like to see him stay in the summer. I really, if it was an issue of he wasn't training well, he wasn't prepared to work, and he wasn't playing well, I wouldn't mind us selling him. But I really don't like the idea that we now have to sell Garnacho simply because, he's going to be pure profit and, that we need the money, because he's a player that I don't think we can replace for 50-40 million pounds in terms of the player he might become. And since when were we in a situation where, as a club, we have to sell, one of our academy graduates, one of our brightest prospects, because, financial fair play, we've just got to try and find something, which is really frustrating. JP saying, personally felt we needed a centre midfielder more than an attacker to push Bruno further up into the 10 role, as he's so effective deep. So ineffective deep is one of our only goal threats. Yeah, well, I think the problem is we needed to probably add to our midfield. Agree, because we've got Bruno playing far too deep, because Casemiro can't play, because Toby Collier is young, because Christian Eriksen doesn't know the legs. I think Eriksen's working pretty well off the bench at the moment. But this is my frustration. We're playing a formation where we don't have the players. We just don't have the players. And who do we now blame? Because now INEOS has brought in Ruben Amorim before he wanted to come in. I think Ruben Amorim was very keen to come in at the end of this current season. INEOS said basically, no, we can't have that. I don't know why. I don't think we've really changed much. I don't think, having this 6 months of, oh no, we've got 6 months more to adapt to the system. I think all at the moment we're doing is that the squad is fractured. I think a lot of players are questioning themselves, questioning their ability, and we continue to struggle as a club. But be as it may, the problem is we've now got a system where we just don't have the midfielders. We don't have the players' profiles. If Mason Mount was fit and he could be playing in that midfield week in, week out, maybe it would be a different story. He's not. We've got Kobe Mainoo, who bloody led the line. One of our only sort of centre midfield players, and all of a sudden we're actually saying, well, actually, he might be a bit better further up, because our strikers are so poor at the moment. So we're desperately looking at how, a Kobe Mainoo can potentially start adding to the goals. We've got to drop Bruno back into the midfield. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Whereas if INEOS were really, really confident of Amorim, they would have backed him. We don't have to go and sign a 80, 90, 200 million pound midfielder. There are midfielders out there that can do a better job than maybe Casemiro right now. They can probably do a better job than Toby Collier. And the fact that we just weren't even linked to a midfielder shows you how unserious we are right now. I think at the moment, INEOS have come in to save money. That's the only really thing that you kind of feel now in this next. I mean, we spent a little bit in the summer. It wasn't a massive window. It wasn't a massive window, and this window very much just felt like we were there to save money. Why does it feel like we've gone back to basically where we were with the Glazers, and yes, we spent 200. I think it was like 200 mil in the summer, which is not which is a lot of money. Well, I think 200 mil including Patrick Dorgu has still since come in. Obviously, that linear Euro Manuel Ugarte signings were the big signings, but it feels now that we've just on this massive cost cutting exercise. We're hiking at the prices of tickets. Fans not happy at all, and we're offloading players with wages. Like for Rashford, and apparently we're open to selling for £40 million. I mean, £40 million for Rashford. It is ridiculous. We're going to offload him for the same as that we bought Flip Manuel Ugarte. We're going to pay Manuel Ugarte off with Marcus Rashford. I mean, how? How have you got to that situation as a club? We're not. I mean, if we sell Anthony at the end of the season, we might get £5 or £6 million for him. Casemiro, I mean, we're talking about 20 million. Sign, exit fee. If we get 15 for Casemiro, that would be something. And this is my frustration. I understand. Yes, we've got a stadium coming up. We've got a lot of investment we need to put into the squad. We've got a lot of stuff we're going to have to be spending money on. We need to invest in our women's setup. We need to invest in the training facilities. Obviously, we've got to add to the squad. It just doesn't seem like we've got any sort of war chest. The way we act in the window, and I'm not saying, again, we don't have to go sign these massive big signings, but where were the loan deals? Why are we not looking at loan deals? Why weren't we looking at where can we find some smart signings? Where can we find a midfielder, for example, who's maybe not playing a lot of football, who's struggling for game time, who could do with a move away? When are we finding that kind of player? I mean, to lose out on Matthias Tel to Spurs alone. Now, was Matthias Tel going to change United? Maybe not. Maybe he goes to Spurs and he absolutely flops. The fact of the matter is, when Spurs were looking to apparently pay like 60 million euros for him, I'm saying fantastic. We don't need that. But the fact that they got him on loan and at this stage don't even have an obligation to buy means we could have gotten that deal right. And how are we not looking at that deal? How are we not investigating it and getting it over the line? Well, apparently we didn't investigate it, but how is somebody shooting Spurs over us? My gut says that we probably pulled out of the deal. In which case, why are we putting out the deal? Because you look at our strikers, you look at our situation, we can't afford to be pulling out deals for forwards. And there's no chance his wages would have been higher than what we're saving at Rashford's wages and Anthony's wages. There's no chance, So we are just basically continue to be incapable in the transfer window. Nothing has really changed there. We've gone into another window through it, and Ruben Amorim has not been backed. And there's an interesting situation when it comes to Ruben Amorim, because some people talking about the fact that what was promised to him. And this is the big thing. When INEOS interviewed Ruben Amorim, there must have been a commitment to support him in the transfer window. Because you look at the squad, and initially you probably find that Amorim thought, yeah, you know what, I can probably work with the squad. There are players here who have had really good runs. There are players there that play for the country, have played for bigger clubs. There's a squad there I can work with. The quality of player shouldn't be much more or less than what he probably had at Sporting. In the reality, because there'll be some players who are much better, some players who maybe are a bit worse in certain positions, but there's a quality. There is a certain amount of quality there. They've won an FA Cup, they've won the League Cup. There is a certain amount of quality there, but there must have been promises given to him about the transfer window, because if he needs to build, especially because he plays in a different system. And as much as he likes to try and pass off that the system doesn't make a difference, it makes a massive difference. We all know it makes a huge difference. Playing the three in the back, the three centre backs, and now we have to have wing backs who are more sort of attacking nature. They're having to have midfielders who understand the system. Dual number 10s, it means you have to have number 10s. So it's a completely different system. As much as he tries to sit there and say, the best players can adapt, it's a huge difference to what our players are currently using, which means that he must have been told by INEOS, it's fine, come to United, we're going to back you, we'll help you build your side that you need within your system to get us to the top. But they haven't done that. They've given him one signing. And don't come with this whole Aiden Heaven, he's supposedly a first team player. He might be training in the first team squad, but even Arsenal fans are saying he's far from ready for being in a first team environment. So that's not a changing signing. So we now brought him in, not backed him in the in the midfield and up front, and so not backed him in the window at all. And we're expecting to see results. And I mean, at the moment, I think there's a stat that he's now got the fewest games to how many home losses ever. We've got another manager breaking all the records for the wrong reasons. I'm trying to find the stat over here. It's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. Here we go. The amount of games needed to lose 5 home Premier League matches. David Moyes was the worst before with 14. Then Ten Hag with 28. Louis van Gaal with 30 before he lost 5 home matches. Solskjaer went 31. Alex Ferguson went 88. Amorim went 7 matches. 7 matches. And he lost 5 home games. Mourinho and Ralph Rangnick never lost 5 home games. Just by the way. Fucking fun fact. I mean, we've turned to a team that can't play in our own bloody stadium. You know, we walk out at Old Trafford and we panic. I mean, how are we panicking outside our own stadium? We are an absolute laughingstock at the moment, and there just doesn't seem to be anything proactive happening. And also, where's the communication? That, for me as well, blows my mind. There's all this talk coming in of we're going to engage with the fans. We're going to be much more open about how things are going to go. You know, we're going to have this dialogue. We're going to be a club for the people. We're going to talk to the fans. We're going to be part of the fans. Where's the communication? You know, Ruben Amorim at the moment is given no indication about the transfer window. You know, he says, I'm just working with the players I have, whatever. Where's the indication about why we potentially can't go into the window? Where is our financial standing? All we're getting now is a little stadium update every month. That's the only thing we get as United fans, the stadium updates. No updates on how the deal works, for example. What's happening with INEOS? Where's the money going in? What's going to happen with the stadium? How are we going to finance it, for example? Players leaving, players coming in. What's the long-term strategy? You know, we've got shareholders who are accountable to. You know, people have bought shares into this club, and where's the accountability? Where is the plan? There just doesn't seem to be one. There's no, I don't suddenly think we're going to get to the summer and all of a sudden spend another 200 mil bringing in clever signings and the likes of that. I think if we get 3 players in the summer, that'll probably be a lot. And I don't see us going and spending over, 70, 80 million. I just don't see, it just doesn't seem like we have the money. And not even just the money, but the capability to bring those players in. I mean, at this stage, we're going to be finishing the bottom half of the Premier League. Please tell me why somebody like a Djokovic is going to come to United and play for a mid-table club that aren't competing for trophies. Because at the moment, we cannot win more than 1 game in a row. I don't think we have since about December, early December, maybe November. And we're into February. The only thing we can do at the moment, the only thing that United can do right now is become a cup team. That's the only thing we can do. The only thing we can do is try and pitch up on Friday against Leicester, get a result, hope for a good draw. Pitch up, get a result, hope for a better draw. You know, hope we can get into the Europa League, get a home game. Well, actually, probably want an away game at this rate, but hopefully we can get a favourable draw in the Europa League, get ourselves to the quarterfinals, and then try and, really G ourselves up for 2 or 3 games. That's the only thing that United can do right now. We've got no league ambitions anymore. We can't have league ambitions, not with the way we're playing, not with where we are in the league, not with how everybody else is playing. This is probably one of the easiest seasons from a results, from a points-wise, to get into a top 4, top 5, top 6 race, and we are not even featuring it in a top 10 race right now. So we've got no league ambitions. We can't have any league ambitions. The only thing we can look at is target cuts. But you look at performances like the weekend against Crystal Palace, you think, how is this side going to win a Europa? How is that side going to win an FA Cup? And yes, you could throw it back to the performance against Liverpool. Fantastic. We're really good. It's once in a bloody blue moon. And since this year, the goals have dried up. Rasmus Højlund's on like an 8-9 game streak without any goals. Xerxes not scoring goals. Kobe Mainoo's leading the line. He's not scoring goals. Amadella hasn't scored in the last couple, and now all of a sudden we're struggling because he's been bailing us out for the month of January. I mean, you can't expect a 22-year-old to continuously bail us out all the time because, our over 140, 50 million pounds worth of strikers can't get the job done. It's insane. It's insanity where we are. And lack of communication. And I'm quite bored of going to a press conference and Ruben Amorim's going to say all the right things and say, I believe in myself and I believe in the system. And, how do you watch what you see in front of you and believe in it? How do I, as a fan, after almost falling asleep on Sunday, we were so poor against Crystal Palace, get behind the project, get behind the manager, get behind this team? Because there's nothing to show for it. There's nothing. There's no silver lining. There's no catching point. There's no there's nothing there to sell to a fan. There's no experience. There's no part of that you could sell to this team to a fan, which is going to entice them to go and support them. We really just are there as the club, and I don't know how we change things because again, this isn't like we're going into the transfer window. Now we've got question marks about whether we brought in the right manager, and now we're going to limp along, and there'll be some good results in the next few months, but probably a lot more bad results than good. We could very well get knocked out of the FA Cup on Friday against Leicester City if things go badly. I mean, imagine that happens. I mean, absolute disaster if it does. So, yeah, I mean, this weekend we've got Leicester City on Friday. Then we've got a week break. Tottenham on Sunday. Everton, Ipswich, Arsenal in March. So our February centers around really the Friday game. Because at the moment, it doesn't really matter what happens in the league. And this is the thing, as a United fan, we're currently basically sitting here waiting for cup games. I can get up for Friday and be like, right, cool, big important game. Sunday for me is pretty irrelevant. Cool, it's against Spurs. And we're going to get a result against Spurs. Oh, fantastic, there it is. Up we go. Result against Spurs. We'll probably lose to Everton the next week or lose to Ipswich. Even if we go and win all 3 of those games and get ourselves 9 points out of a possible 9. 9 points would put us at 38 points, which if no other team got a single point during that period, would still only put us at 8th. Villa gets 1 win and we can't catch them. Fulham gets 1 win, we can't catch them. Brighton would need 1 win out of the 3 and we could be even on them. You know, that's how far back we are. So that's why I said the league is so irrelevant. We cannot do anything in the league. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The league's pointless. Might as well just play down to 21s. The only thing as United fans we can get up for now is the FA Cup and the Europa League. And we still actually haven't confirmation of exactly how the Europa League teams will be because obviously there's still that playoff. The only good thing about the Europa League is we managed to get into that at round of 16. So that next round's going to come in, it's always around Valentine's Day, I think it is. So it's, I want to say it's next week, is that next round. And then the round of 16 is in March. First leg of 6th of March. And then the second leg on 30th of March. So we've now got, it between now and the 6th of March, we basically got 1 match which actually holds important. Imagine being that as a fan right now. 1 match that holds any sort of importance. Because at the moment we're not going to get relegated. You don't have to worry about that. But we're not going to climb a league table. So there's just very little to be excited for as United fans. So it's a very negative show, but unfortunately that's the reality. You know, and you know, the Glazers meanwhile apparently have pulled out of buying a side in the 100, for example, but no indications that they're looking to sell and move away from United. So for as long as the Glazers are there, when we see these cost-cutting measures, all we know is that that's going to be sort of like line pockets. You know, there's just going to be more dividends paid out. So INEOS has come in, spend a bit of money. Now they're looking to save money, but the Glazers are still involved, which means, you know, the dividends going to be paid at the end of the season are going to be good. That's where we are. It really, that's reality right now, you know, is that we're going to see money going out of the club, paid out as dividends to owners who've never cared about us, whilst we sit in 14th, 15th in the league, probably going to crash out of the Europa League in probably like a quarterfinal or something like that. And we're going to get to the end of the season. There's going to be questions about the manager, questions about the players, questions about the owners, questions about Old Trafford. What do we have that's good right now in this club? If you can think of anything, let me know. We've got nice shirts. You know, our kit's quite nice this season. That's about the only thing we can really celebrate. And things have to change. And I don't know, I mean, are we going to get back to, are we going to start having INEOS out protests in a year's time now if they continue not to operate and do everything that they promised, for example? Because, you know, all these promises, and at the moment, all we've got is a plan for maybe a new stadium, big whoop. But that new stadium is probably going to mean we can't go into the transfer window for a while. And when we need to rebuild a team, we can't afford not to go into the transfer window. So it's all a bit of a mess. Let me know what you think, though, about the mess down in the comments below. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. I was asking in the beginning of the show to rate our transfer window. 1 vote for 0 to 2, 1 vote for 2 to 4. I'll put my vote at 2 to 4. I'll probably about a 3 out of 10. You know, it's not a 1 or 2 because we actually did bring somebody in and we offloaded maybe a player who, you know, well, we got rid of Anthony. I think that's already a point. We brought in Dorgu, which is a point. And Rashford wasn't playing, so we loaned him out, and that's a half point. 2.5, maybe 3 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm at. If we had brought in a midfielder and a striker, even on loan, I would put that at about a 6 or 7 out of 10 window. I just don't understand. I mean, back in the day, even we used to bloody loan players. Even during the Glazed era, we had Igalo, for example, coming in, and Vogt Weghorst, and all these kind of players. I would take the kind of signing. You know, we've had decent loans in the past. So I don't understand why there was just no attempt to try and bring anybody half decent into on loan when we were sitting at. I mean, Lissandro Martinez goes down, does his ACL on Sunday. He's out for the season. So now what? Aiden Haven's going to start playing. You know, where is the transfer deadline day bid for a centre back or loan? You know, where we suddenly go, we need an extra centre back. But no, well, don't worry, we've got Johnny Evans who's struggling with fitness and Victor Lindelof who's struggling with fitness. That's our options. And a 19-year-old INEOS. So Maguire and De Ligt are about to be played into the ground because we don't have other options. Luke Shaw's going to come back. He'll probably play as the left side, as centre back, but we all know his injury history. That's the big difference. Is that any other club, one of their main defenders gets an ACL injury on the Sunday, that Monday on deadline day, they are going all out saying, right, we need to bring somebody in. We have to. If we were in a title challenge, for example, we go and get somebody in. And that's, again, that shows you the mentality. If we were in a title challenge and we lost centre back, we'd be going and spending 60, 70 million on the Monday trying to bring in the centre back. Because we'd have to. We sit there saying we can't not cope without him. And yet there's just no interest. We weren't even linked to a centre back yesterday. So yeah, I'm agreeing with the 2 to 4%, 2 to 4 out of 10. That's where I'm at, probably a 2.5, maybe a 3. But in the end, a disaster window, very, very tough times for United, and pressure growing on INEOS, pressure growing on Amorim, and pressure going on the players as well. We'll be back tomorrow, though, and we'll have any other updates to the day as the day go by. Might start looking at a few other things like giving a rating of the transfer window and maybe why things went bad and why they did what they did. But if you are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. Smash a like on the video, subscribe, as I said, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, 9 a.m. here on Free.